What's up, everybody? Bradley with the Insurance Guys podcast here. Before we get started with this episode, I want to talk to you about this week's sponsor. If you pay any attention to the independent agency channel, you know there's no hotter buzzword right now than VAs or virtual assistants. This week's sponsor, I'm proud to say, is CoverDesk, who offers an innovative client solution for agencies to outsource client-facing VAs. Created by agency veteran Andy Priesman, owner of Greenway Insurance. People, this is not your typical VA company. They offer a proven system of recruiting highly educated virtual assistants, ensuring consistent performance for your agency. With their experience, they're able to help you design a program that is just right for you and your agency. They implement by onboarding and training each VA in foundational insurance skills. Visit CoverDesk on the web at www.coverdesk.com or email them at hello@coverdesk.com, or you can call them and tell them that the Insurance Guys sent you. Please do at 512-879-3345. Guys, give CoverDesk a ring. I promise you, you will not regret it.
Insurance agents from around the world, welcome to the Insurance Guys podcast. My name is Scott Howell, your fearless host and leader, insurance agency owner and insurance evangelist for I Protect Insurance and Financial Services, based out of Huntsville, Alabama. And before we get started on today's episode, please help me welcome. He is a 6'3" sophomore from Saraland, Alabama, Parade First Team All-American, Rivals 5-star recruit. He is a fantastic insurance agent and my great American friend. Please welcome the incomparable Mr. Bradley Flowers. How are you, Bradley?
Great, Scott. How are you today?
Man, I am fantastic. Guys, we are filming and doing audio here at the Elevate Conference in New Orleans, Louisiana. And before we get started on today's episode, guys, our mission on this podcast is to do one thing and one thing only. We heard it this morning in a keynote address that we heard. Keep it simple. Keep it simple. And our simple mission, simple and clarity, and I'm not sure that we can do more than keep it simple and clarity here. Our mission is to help you guys any way we can. Sales, marketing, hiring, firing, accounting, bookkeeping, you name it. We want to help you with it, and we've got a lot of potential great guests down here with us right now. Today, I'm excited to introduce our guest, folks. He grew up and he lives in Springfield, Ohio. He went to Springfield North High School. He's a graduate of Wright State University. He is married to the beautiful Joy Greene, and he has two beautiful sons, Nolan and Hudson. I'm not mistaken, he's an Ohio State Buckeye fan and a Cleveland Browns fan. And more importantly, he is an insurance agent at Elliot Insurance. He's been there since 2015. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the other incomparable Mr. Scott Greene. How are you, Scott?
Thank you. Fantastic. Thanks for having me.
Man, thank you for being on the show today. It means a lot to me, and it means a lot to Bradley. We've had a big day here today, guys. We have been drinking from a fire hydrant, and our friend and great American Scott. Yeah, exactly. Scott has actually been on stage this morning giving a presentation, guys, and we want to talk a little bit today about video marketing. Video marketing in your agency. I know we've had a couple of episodes a little similar to this, but Scott did a fantastic job. And before we get started, I got to ask you a couple questions. Number one, did you know that the most famous resident from Springfield, Ohio, Mr. John Legend? Yeah, so he did know that. That surprises me. So that's number one. Number two, I want to know how you found this rock star that keeps coming off as the agency owner for Elliot Insurance, the older gentleman that gets on your videos. Is he really the agency owner?
He is the agency owner, yep.
That is unbelievable.
71 years old.
I want you to tell our audience right now, how do they get on Facebook, YouTube, whatever medium that it's out there, and go see some of your agency videos? Because they are absolute fire.
Sure. So a couple ways. We have a Facebook page, Elliot Insurance in Springfield, Ohio. And then the other way would be on YouTube. Just look up Elliot Insurance, and we have our own page there as well.
And every time you send me one, so here's what happens. Scott sends me kind of a pre-released recorded video to let me look at. I guess I'm one of his sounding boards, and every time he does, I am blown away with the content that you guys are putting out.
And it's, and we've had a lot of guys on who do video marketing, talk video marketing, but I don't know if anyone has made it as simple as you are, and is down to earth from a consumer facing standpoint and from the agent standpoint. It's, you don't have to overthink this, right?
Right. Yeah.
And if I'm not mistaken, that was kind of the premise of a lot of your presentation this morning, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Let's get into that. Why don't we just take them through kind of what you went over this morning in the class?
Sure. So we started out by just discussing my background at the agency and kind of, that we're a legacy agency that's been around since 1933. Our book of business was getting older and not really growing, kind of staying the same. And we needed to find something to do that was going to bring in the new consumer or customer, client, whatever. So we found that the best way to do that, to reach these people, not between your typical 9 to 5 hour, is by doing video on social media. So they could determine early on whether they liked us or not.
Right. And you have a fun group that you work with, and
we have a blast.
And that comes off on camera too.
Good.
So when people watch this video as a consumer looking for insurance up in the Springfield area, if I were a consumer and I saw that, I'd be like, man, these guys are a lot of fun. I want to go in there and sit down and talk to some of them.
Does it help you recruiting too? Do you have people, and if this hasn't happened, it will happen, have people come to your agency like, man, I want to work with those people. They have a lot of fun.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. So I think we all get the recruitment LinkedIn messages, like people saying, I'm starting a State Farm agency of farmers. But man, those started to pour in a lot more when these videos started getting released, and competitors in the area reaching out and saying, hey, are you really happy where you are? And it's like, did you watch our video? Of course I'm happy. So, right. And what's crazy is, in our agency, it's not something that you really get invited into it. We're not typically looking for people because it's a family owned agency. Right. And outside of myself and the two CSRs, everyone else is family. So, I
know you did this with the audience this morning here at Elevate. We're at Elevate 2019, in case you're listening to this in 2022. Take us through your creative process, how you come up with the ideas for some of these videos, because I know for a lot of folks, for me, actually, that's the hard part. The creative part, take us through the creative part, and then, structurally, and then, putting the video together.
Sure.
And maybe some hacks along the way.
So a couple of things that started off when we decided that we were going to do video. We knew that it wasn't going to be something that we could just do on our own. We needed help in a big way. Reached out to my friend Ethan, who presented with me today from Champion City Media. So basically what we do is we sit down. The first conversation we had was, who are you? And what do you want to get across to your customer base? We decided that my sense of humor is one of my greatest assets. And we really have kind of gotten away from, we didn't want the eagle flying in and then showing the flag waving, your trusted advisors. We wanted more of like, hey, we're here to have fun. We're also serious when you need us. As far as you have a big accident or claim, we're going to take care of you. But to also know that we're going to be a good time.
Right. And so tell us a little bit about, like, what was the onus behind starting these videos? I mean, I assume that you were just listening to our podcast and you're like, I've got to start doing videos.
Sure.
No, I'm joking, by the way. But at what point in time in the last year, 2, 3 years did you really like look yourself in the mirror and go, you know what, we're gonna get on the video train?
So it started with there's a accounting firm in our town who is really big into this, and they started inviting me to do little guest spots in their videos. The first one that I really got involved in was one called The Office Linebacker, where I just went around laying people out in his office that were not.
So that was just a spoof off the Reebok ad.
That's exactly what that was. That's exactly what that was. Right. So I always wanted to be Terry Tate, and I finally got my opportunity.
Absolutely.
But
did you hurt some people?
I can't answer that. I think I don't think they would have told me.
Were you really tackling them though? I mean, you were
every single one of them except there's one where it shows that I hit a girl. Then Ethan's dream team, is he in here?
No.
Ethan's dream team paired that together, so they were able to make it look good. That's where it started, and my boss, my agency principal, started to see, man, we're going out together, and people are recognizing Scott from these videos. Yeah. This stuff really works, and when we presented to him, Ethan and I, that we really need to start doing this in our agency, we wanted to make it a point where our first video that we did, we wanted him to be the narrator. And after that first video, you know, people are walking up to him at the coffee shop like, you could be on Saturday Night Live.
Exactly.
And again, someone who wasn't, you know, entirely comfortable getting on video.
Right. And at that point, he's all in.
He's all in.
He's like, oh my God, why have we not been doing this?
Why have we not, exactly. Yeah. Why are we still spending money?
Would you please tell him hello for me when you get back?
I will.
I love
absolutely.
that guy. I would love to meet him and spend some time with him. He seems like a rock star.
I will try to get him to Elevate next year for sure.
I love that so much.
Or we'll see if we can match something up that you guys are going to be at again.
Yeah, talk a little bit about what you did today for the audience.
Sure. Yeah. So today,
I wasn't there. I was in another session when you were doing your session.
Breaks my heart.
Well, we've kind
That's
of
all right.
We've kind of doubled up sessions.
Sure.
Yeah. Oh.
So we.
I had to go see Chris Greene.
No. That's fine. That's fine.
He's my buddy. Yeah,
That's fine. The flood guy. Yeah, I get it. Chris
So
is good.
you're the second. You're the second Scott that's been on this show.
Yes.
And the second Green with an E on the end.
Okay.
There you go. So
I'll take it.
Yeah, give us some hacks. Tell us what you guys are doing right now to. I mean, I don't know how much of that you just heard. We just heard the guy from is it
Wistia?
Wistia?
Yep.
Who's CEO of Wistia?
I don't know his title there.
He was bringing it. He was giving a lot of hacks. I took a lot of video in there of him talking about video. So tell us a little bit about some of the hacks and things that you guys are doing.
Well, you know, I think a lot of people, and I was guilty of doing this last year at Elevate when I was hearing everyone talk about how easy video was and how you do it. I was building up walls, putting up barriers, saying, you know, there's no way my team is going to be on board with this. We don't have the money, the resources, the time to get this done with everything else that goes into running an agency. Those are all BS excuses. We've learned that by truly just knowing who we are and the message that we want to get across, it's not that difficult. I mean, and it's, you have fun doing it, and then you have this finished product that you're not only able to use it once. We can re-release it again in a year and try to, you know, have the same results that we did. But, you know, the most important thing is, and I keep coming back to this, is knowing who you are. And if you don't know the answer to that, sit down with some of your colleagues, some of your customers, and ask them, like, what are the 5 best qualities about me? And you might be surprised at what you hear by that stuff that you don't even see sometimes. But no, that's the biggest thing.
And so in terms of production quality, the videos that you guys are doing, are y'all bringing in a whole production team with like video crew and sound boom and all that?
Sure. We work with Champion City Media. We're in the process of working with them on actually doing short little homemade videos as well. And those are strictly going to be for educational purposes, which is very important as well. But yeah, in our agency, we are using a production company.
Do you think your educational stuff that you're going to be putting out, I'm assuming will go not only on Facebook as they come out, but then your website and then onto YouTube as well? Is that right?
Yep.
Are those going to be comical, or are those going to be, let's sit down and talk about uninsured motorists?
I just had this conversation with someone at an OIA meeting, and I was telling them how our next video is going to be a little more serious, kind of highlighting the 4 generations. And he's in a much bigger agency than mine, and he goes, "Why would you do that?" Right. People like the fun. They like seeing the true Elliot Insurance. Keep going off that.
And I've never agreed with anything more than that. I think you should, because I think when you dive off over into the serious side, I think I'm afraid you might not have quite as much success with that, because let's face it, guys, insurance is damn boring. I'm sorry. I wish it was as much fun as going to the circus or, you know,
spoiler alert,
flying a drone, but it's just not. So that's where we are.
And here's the thing, too, is, you know, the longer you can go, it's kind of like, you know, we were out in the lobby here at Elevate talking about, you know, monetizing your product, whether it be this podcast or whatever. And we were talking about, you know, Joe Hollier with the Insurance Scramble, where the longer you go with out monetizing, the better it gets. And the more valuable you become. It's kind of the same thing with content marketing. The longer you go giving that audience what they want, the more of a right hook you're going to have when you do decide to do that video. You build equity with your audience. You know what I mean? It's like if, let's say you weren't an insurance agent, you were a client, the more of a relationship that I can build with you, the greater percentage there is that you're going to do business with me down the road. Sure. So the longer you go giving that audience what they want, the better it gets.
Right? You know, to that point, one thing I liked about your last video, and I watch your videos religiously when you put one out, and that was one question I had, was in terms of, you know, Gary Vaynerchuk, more. Whatever you're doing now, do 5 times more of it. So I don't know how much content, the way y'all are doing it with boom mics and a guy in there with a camera, and it's, I'm sure you're probably having to script some stuff out and, hey, you're going to say this. But that last video, I believe it was that you sent me, I thought you did a very good job of, it was funny, but yet towards the end there was a little bit of a call to action. Hey, call us if you want to have, if you want to have a good time and come, get your insurance. So in terms of content and really pouring it on, it will always be hard for you to catch up with me if I ever decide to jump full head speed into the video game, because I'm just going to take my phone and video.
Sure.
And if I do that, I can pump out as many videos as I want. Is there a plan in place for you to, I guess, in between the real production type scenario, actually doing this short minute, 2-minute stuff?
Yeah. So at this point, we just started diving into the video really within the last maybe 6-7 months.
Right.
And the newest agent at our office, who's the 4th generation Elliot in the office, we have discussed tag teaming those kind of videos where he might release one once every couple days, and then maybe I do one just explaining coverage, but in an entertaining way.
Right. Put some kind of flair on it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah.
So go through the process of you've created the video, your media company that you're the hometown group that you're using. I'm assuming is going back editing, putting the touches on it. Then what mediums are you putting that out on?
So primarily, and I just learned, I'm learning some of this stuff myself, but Facebook was the primary one. The last video that we did, we had 17,000 organic views. And I think off the boost that we did, we got another 2,000, so 19,000 total. But Ethan shared with me, he goes, hey, why don't you go ahead and throw that on LinkedIn too? And we're looking at right around 8,000 views, which I didn't even know 8,000 people were on LinkedIn, to be honest.
I didn't either.
It's just, I'm learning throughout this whole process too, and I don't pretend to, like I know it all. That's why we did bring in someone to hire it out and help us develop our video strategy and moving forward.
That guy in there that we just heard was like, hey, video's king. Yeah. It's only going to, get bigger. You need to be your own. And Bradley and I both have said this. I've heard him say this on the podcast. We've got to be our own media company from a personal branding standpoint. If I give Bradley the microphone, he'll probably talk for 7 minutes about that. And not only that, but one thing I heard in there that I thought was very intriguing was where we're headed with video on a one-on-one basis. He said, look, moving forward now in the next year, you're going to be doing more and more videos that go to email, and it's a personalized message, kind of like a video quoting stuff, but going out to your niche with Scott talking to, whatever business that I'm trying to sell insurance to, or giving a quote or things like that. He was really big on that.
Absolutely. I think that's the way it's going. I think the town that I live in is a little bit behind on that. I don't know that video quoting is right around the corner by any means, but it's definitely something we got to get used to because it's here.
That's the thing about the insurance industry that I've always found intriguing is you'll have a company that'll make a decision based on the entire United States of America, and they'll say something like, we're only going to go to you can only get your bill by email. And I'm like, bitch, do you realize half my customers have a Cricket phone?
That's right.
And live out in the country and don't have a TV?
That's
and
right.
You're going to go to, email statements, and that's all you're going to do? So, the people who live in downtown metropolitan Denver, Colorado versus the people that live in rural Limestone County in Athens, Alabama is the difference between somebody living on Mars and somebody living on Venus.
Well, it's 100% of the market.
Right. Yeah, right.
It's reaching 100% of the market. There may be people in a 5,000 person town that want to get an e-bill. Mm-hmm. There's probably more than you think.
Yeah,
but you're still going to have those people who they're going to want to get their bill by mail. They're going to want to pay cash. So we're here at Elevate. Scott and I have had a great time, haven't we?
I have a great time. Yeah.
So Elevate, the folks at Agency Nation are a partner of ours. They've sponsored a few podcast episodes, and in exchange for us promoting this event, we've had a great time. We're about halfway through. Scott, tell us what your biggest takeaway is from this event, from a attendee standpoint, and then other Scott, taller Scott, tell me what your biggest takeaway is from this event.
So mine's going to be short, sweet, and simple. I don't think that there is an event that I've been to where I have built better connections than this one. By getting the opportunity to sit down with you guys, and we constantly see each other on social media, and it's like, oh man, what's Scott doing? What's Brad doing? And
it's so strange because we all feel like we know each other.
Yeah.
Like when I came up and hugged you just a little while ago, I'm like, I know him. I mean,
absolutely.
That's so bizarre and something that you would have never dreamed of 10 or 15 years ago.
Absolutely.
That it was like that.
Yeah, it's even the insurance industry is changing so much from when my agency principal was in it. Again, nothing like that ever would have happened. Right. But I love the connections I made, the friendships that I made. I made a great friendship last year with Jared Bellman, who I know you guys have had on the podcast. And you got to be honest, it's not the same here without him. But maybe next year we'll get the opportunity to see him.
Yeah, it's not the same.
Well, and I even kind of made the joke that I was going to buy a 40 of Old English and pour some out before
for your homie.
Yeah, for Jared and for Hanley too. With him not being here too. So, but that has hands down been the best part.
Oh yeah, nobody even bat an eye.
You might have someone get under the flow of the beer with their mouth.
Exactly. I think for me, just being here with all the people that I've always seen on social media and talked to on social media, commented on, that's been big. The guy this morning that gave the keynote address this morning, Bradley, on Story Brand, talking about the psychology of people, how telling that story, telling your story. And then he recreates every movie that's ever been made, basically from the character to the ending, was absolutely mind-blowing to me. The thing that I love the most about insurance is the psychology of people. Not only our customers, other agents, why people do what they do, why body language and those types of things. And that guy had it dialed in this morning. It was worth it for me to hear him just coming down here. But Scott, I want to tell you how much I appreciate you being on today, man. It means a lot. I know that we don't have very much time because we've got so many other things we've got to go do. I want to congratulate you. I sat in there just a few minutes ago, and I was actually thinking about you. The guy's talking about video. He's talking about all these things that you need to do to become your own brand, and you need to be Netflix. You need to be Netflix. And I thought about you, and I thought that, of all these agents sitting in here and all these people listening to this, 99% of these people won't do any of this, won't do a damn bit of it. But you have. Rewards come from action, not discussion, and you have done it. And I am so proud of you for doing that.
Thank you. It means a lot.
And please keep it going and don't stop and do more.
I can say a lot of things about Scott Howell, but Scott Howell is an action taker.
Well, I try to be. Sometimes to my own fault. I've got a lot of things to work on. I haven't been on social media very much lately because I've had so many things going on.
And to that point, someone had a conversation with Gary Vaynerchuk at Agent 2021 about posting on Instagram. And, Gary's thing is Gary posts everything himself.
Right.
Nothing scheduled.
Right.
Pre-planned, but it's not scheduled. In other words, he's not going into the platform and scheduling. It's in the moment.
Right.
I can't remember what the question was, but his answer was, he's like, I haven't posted as much today because I'm freaking busy.
Exactly.
To my credit right now, I just started my agency. So it's slow down. It's you have to find the time, but at the same time, it's okay if you slow down sometimes.
You know what? It's so funny that you said that. I will tell both of you a little Scott Howell secret. If you do, for some reason, keep up with me on social media and you don't see me post for any period of time, you'll know Scott's jamming, doing something. I'm doing something. Now, it may either be writing the shit out of some insurance or it may be trying to renovate a little house that I bought. But I'm doing something, but I'm busy. And the last week or two, really, I've noticed that my social media has just dropped off the earth. And I've got to do a better job of that consistency.
Yeah. You got to be consistent, whether it's posting once a week or 3 times a day, as long as you're consistent. Just
like the podcast.
Well, it's like with Scott, his videos are so good, you could do one every 2 months and probably get still the same somewhat results. Sure. It might actually be a detriment to do it every day.
It might.
What I would tell folks is if you're posting about coverages and things like that, I would shoot for every day or multiple times a week at least. If you're going for the entertainment value, I would try to do it a little less. So, and I don't really have a reason behind that other than that's just kind of how I think you should do it, you know?
So funny story before I close this out here. So yesterday I walk in the lobby of the hotel. Chris Greene, floodguru.com, he's in the lobby. He walks up to me, or I walk up to him. Hey, Chris, how you doing? He says, I can't talk. I'm doing one video a day for 365 days, and I've got 2 videos to go do by the river right now, and I don't have time to talk. And he turns around and he walks off. And I was like, that right there is a man that is committed to doing some video right there. So, guys, listen, rewards come from action, not discussion. I want to thank our guest today, Scott Greene, for being on the show. We love you. We're proud of you. Guys, get your ass out there and be your own media company. Here's my challenge to every agent listening to this show right now. Become your own Netflix. Become your own Netflix. I'm telling you right now, if your ass will get out there and do about 365 videos in 365 days, and you can be creative and you can do good video, I don't give a damn if it's with an iPhone, an Android, a Cricket phone. I know Cricket phones can't do that. But whatever it is, if you can get out there and become your own Netflix, become your own personal brand, have good creative content that is hilariously funny and talks about insurance, and oh, by the way, come buy some damn insurance from me, you will be light years ahead of where you are today. Guys, go out today and make money for your family, make money for your husband, your wife, your kids, and write good business for the companies that you represent, write good business for the agencies that you represent. Bradley Flowers, I love you. Hey, Scott, I love you too, brother.
Hey, love you too, brother.
Hey, guys, you are listening to the Insurance Guys podcast, and we'll see you back here real soon. Thanks for listening to the Insurance Guys podcast. If you need to know more about me or you need to get in touch with Scott, you can always reach me at theinsuranceguyonline.com or email me at iprotectins@gmail.com. And if you need to get in touch with Mr. Bradley Flowers, go to bradleyflowersinsurance.com or email him at bradley@saralandinsurance.com. Guys, we love you. Thank you so much for listening. We look forward to being with you again real soon on the next episode of The Insurance Guys. Take care.